Mary Kamara is one of the lucky generation of Sierra Leonean teenage girls. Despite being pregnant, she had the opportunity to attend school like a normal girl. 2 years ago, Mary's story would have been different due to a ban on girls with visible pregnancy from attending school. Initially imposed in 2010 and enforced in 2015, that ban was part of a policy by the Sierra Leone government which said it was meant to discourage pregnant teenage girls from influencing their peers. Thousands of girls were affected, many of whom eventually dropped out of school. Some were probably even given up for marriage to the same men responsible for their plight.
They were sexually penetrated. Are we punishing them double? Somebody impregnated them because of their vulnerability.
The policy was enforced at the height of the 2013-2016 West African Ebola epidemic, when extensive lockdowns worsened poverty levels in Sierra Leone, exposing women and girls to sexual exploitation. Sierra Leone had long been battling the phenomenon of teenage pregnancy, one of the legacies of its civil war. The number of teen mothers rose dramatically thanks to the restrictions imposed to curb the spread of Ebola. A UNFPA study revealed that more than 14,000 girls became pregnant by the end of the epidemic, including 11,000 who were already in school prior to the outbreak. It took years of advocacy, culminating in a court action at the Regional Community Court of the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, for the ban to be lifted. The Women Against Violence and Exploitation in Society, or WAVES, was one of the groups behind the campaign. WAVES advocate against policies and traditions that hinder the progress of women and girls, like female genital mutilation, or FGM, child marriage, and teenage pregnancy. Opponents of FGM say it's a barbaric practice with no medical benefit. The act of initiating underage girls makes it even more contentious, especially in light of growing number of reported deaths associated with the practice. In the last 5 months alone, WAVES has recorded 3 fatalities, including minors. Effort to ban FGM has met stiff resistance from a society that sees the campaign as an affront to its culture and traditions, and supporters have been galvanized by the politicization of the practice. Like FGM, campaigners say that underage marriage not only hinders education of the girl child, it also exposes them to a whole lot of health complications. According to the Sierra Leone Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey 2017, the country was home to 800,000 child brides, of which 400,000 were married before age 15. The conservative posture of the Sierra Leonean society means that there is little sympathy for the plight of victims of these scourges. This explains why the pregnant girl ban proved highly divisive, even among civil rights campaigners themselves.
The struggle begins from the day WAVES opted to take the matter to court because our colleagues were saying that it's immoral. The civil society community, they were saying it's immoral. How can you vow for girls who are pregnant and to go back and sit in classroom with their colleagues? They will influence their colleagues and the schools will be packed with pregnant girls. So I had that opposition, especially here because we are working in rural communities, in our colleagues here in the south. No, they hit on me, but thank God I didn't relent because they didn't see where I was seeing. For them, they were remotely controlled with what they feel that it will happen, but I was not remotely controlled because I was seeing that these girls before even the ban on that thing, girls were being pregnant. They were still in their school community, go visiting their school community. Sports time, they go there with their kids, they play with them. These same friends in the school will come to the house and visit them, and some will be taking notes. And when it comes to exam, they go and sit their exams. So did that actually influence the other girls to become pregnant?
Nearly 2 years after the case was filed at the ECOWAS court, judges ruled against the government, ordering it to lift what they called a discriminatory policy that denied girls their right to education. Sierra Leone was found to be in breach of its commitment and responsibility under both local and international laws, with particular reference to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and the Convention Against Discrimination in Education. While looking forward to the full implementation of the court's ruling, Waves and its partners sought to exploit the opportunity it offered, with the objective of preventing more girls from falling victim of the prevailing status quo, which had been exacerbated by the ban. Through support from Equality Now, Waves set up the Safe Space Project, which provides a sort of a sanctuary for not just pregnant girls, but also those who are at risk of exploitation. Its ultimate goal is to ensure that girls access education. Equality Now is an international NGO which advocates for human rights of women and girls.
So a key challenge we have noted in the course of implementing the project is that access to justice for girls has become very difficult. This is because the population in Sierra Leone supports sexual violence because of inequalities that exist in the society, that girls are seen as sexual objects. And this is something we are working against, to change the social norm so that girls are able to report violations.
The Safe Space Project is implemented in 3 districts: Bo, Kenema, and Freetown. Girls like Mary, who have already fallen victim of society's exploitation, go through their phase in life without pressure from the outside world. They work with mentors who coach them on issues like child marriage, FGM, literacy, teenage pregnancy, and hygiene.
Me can tell me your mentor and me your pikin and say, mommy and daddy business not to for now. Now for you papa and you mama, but now they don't reach there. You not to for you. When you not reach there, what you do, you dey get belle, and when you get that belle there, if you not reach the side for born pikin for yourself, if you not born that pikin, they go do operation for you. And if they do that operation for you, you go die. And secondly back, that belle when you not reach there, when you born her, you not to baby carrier, you for be back carrier. For you not back for the night, you back for tote book for go to school. You not for be baby carrier, baby not for the night, you back with they go school.
The Safe Space also works with school authorities and parents. Teresa Momo teaches at the Ahmadiyya Primary School in Blama, Smallbo, Kenema District, where she mentors 16 girls.
Let them go monitor them picking them at home. You will know say you get gap picking. If you monitor you gap picking, if you know how to take care of farm. Because any month, like that menstruation cycle where they talk of, some parents then if they pick they not see them period by per month, they know they ask them. But some parents then they get that care any month, then they make sure say if they pick they don't see them period.
Head teacher Matthew Bobo Koba of the Seventh-day Adventist Primary School in Nyegbenga, Nyawali Chinkam, Bo District, has collaborated with the Safe Space to foil several attempts to initiate underage pupils into FGM. Mr. Koba, however, recalls watching helplessly as one of his star pupils dropped out of the National Primary School Examination, or MPSC, last year after getting pregnant. But with the help of the Safe Space, she was provided all the support to go through her education.
It was last academic year. She was in class 6, and at the time we were to have our NPSC exams, she was not there. I asked the parents, they said she was pregnated by an unknown somebody. But it was only after during the holidays that we were able to find out and get somebody. Yes. And we made the report to him. So they intervened, and then they searched for the man, and the man was caught. So Waves are now taking care of the girl. Okay. Oh, I felt so disappointing because we have been telling them that they should not do that, but because of the type of home she's coming from.
In these safe spaces are also girls who serve as ambassadors for their peers. They use knowledge gained in the space to enlighten other girls in their schools and their communities. 18-year-old Hannah Smith and 14-year-old Hawa Toka are proud safe space advocates.
space they still for them for let them book up with we, for let them able land. Because who say I go don't give them that courage say yes, then as somebody we go able make a change. Not to for say we got picking bond, that means it all lost all hope. Hope they still for make him able do something for let it change in Fambo there and Salon as a whole. Talk to confident. Picking them they will not be the year the parents say word. And now what we don't try for talk to them, they don't able get the idea what would they talk of, they don't try for change. And picking them they still will want come on board just because they want land. They get that strength there for land and they don't change.
As impressive as the bravery of these young girls may seem, their involvement in this advocacy at this stage of their life illustrate the sad reality that the battle to ensure the safety and right to access to education for the girls is far from over. Lifting of the ban was just the beginning, and it's just one of several recommendations by the ECOWAS Court, which also ordered the government to put in place measures geared towards reducing teenage pregnancies, as well as to sensitize communities against discrimination of victims. Mary's experience reinforces the point for urgent and holistic action towards this by the government. Pregnant at the young age of 15 and confused, she had to deal with pressure from both her family and society. While her father threatened to end her school career as punishment for bringing shame to the family, her peers ridiculed her for being a child mother.
Abuse me about I thank God's ways the way they don't take me. I probably don't get that belly. I feel saying that they are the end, but ways they don't try for me. They don't take me. Say I don't go to school. I don't sit, but I know say I dey pass my MPSC.
But luckily for her, and thanks to the safe space, Mary is among thousands of candidates who sat to this year's MPSC, and she is hopeful of passing it. The government has unveiled several programs it says were geared towards ending the culture of SGBV in Sierra Leone, like the establishment of one-stop centers, which are designed to provide rapid response to victims. The Free Quality Education Program has also opened doors for a lot of reforms, including the radical inclusion policy of Basic Education Minister Dr. David Senge, which reportedly inspired the lifting of the pregnant schoolgirl ban. But Mrs. Yambasu says a lot more concrete actions on the ground are needed to guarantee a sustainable, conducive environment for girl-child education.
So what we are saying that is as much as government is putting premium on free quality education, we have some other sectors bringing down girls' education.
The ministry didn't grant my request for comment. Outside the education sector, there are a lot more blank spaces in the equation towards an SGBV-free Sierra Leone. The legal framework, for instance, according to campaigners, needs more vigor to fast-track prosecution of cases, which they say is crucial to send a strong message to perpetrators. The Family Support Unit of the Sierra Leone Police is a key partner of the Safe Space project, but the unit is bedeviled by lack of resources to adequately conduct conclusive investigations, particularly on sexual offense cases. Data from the FSU in Bo suggest a reduction in sexual abuse cases, but a corresponding rise in cases of physical abuse. Chief Superintendent Fatmata Susan Kamara, FSU coordinator in the Southern region, attribute this to the continued engagement of the girls both in and outside the school system, an indication of the positive impact of the lifting of the ban.
From my own experience, since I've been in the South for 4 years and more, it's like during the vacation, July and August, those are the long vac they call them. The student can be at home most times, and it's that time when their parents are away, they do their thing. But during the school time, they go to school. By the time school is off, they will meet their parents at home. So I guess that's the reason. Then secondly, because during the school time, we go to schools and sensitize them on SGBV. We sensitize them a lot. We even out of both, we do go there to sensitize them. So at that time, their mind can be alert. But during the vacation, they are off school, a lot of activities, taking them off so they can just get themselves involved in one or the other.
Her major challenges, however, include policing an area so vast with limited resources. She also laments a high tendency for family members of victims to seek to settle cases outside the court system. All of these issues, say campaigners, must be addressed holistically for there to be any promising future for the girl child in Sierra Leone.